Hello and welcome to the Weekspot pre-show bants. My name is Colin Mahern and with me is the wonderful, forever dapper Matthew Castle. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. Remember me? I used to work here.
I find like that is the odd thing, isn't it? Because anyone who's paid attention, like I know, it's like things will maybe change more in a few weeks' time, or whatever. But like, not an awful lot is going to change. Like now, or there isn't a big difference between now and I don't know the last 4 or 5 weeks. Really, we're just doing the Weekspot.
It's almost like we mentally prepared people by doing, like a little, just doing the Weekspot, get people used to the idea, and then bam,
Yeah.
cut him loose.
Yeah. But it's nice.
We can laugh about it, can't we?
I think so. I think we can, yeah. But whilst we would you like to laugh in an official capacity?
What does that mean?
That means would you like to start the show?
Oh, right. I feel a bit bad because Mog gave us £10.
Oh, God. Oh, dear.
Pre-bants, and he's got all of 2 minutes of pre-bants.
So, Mog, thank you very much for your tenor for the pre-bants.
That is wonderful.
Not full.
I'll be able to afford to eat.
Yeah, which is good. So you're allowing Matthew buy £10
Gotta keep all this going.
Something. What's all that? Flesh.
My fat head. The less I eat, the less of me there is. And that's obviously a terrible thing.
That is a terrible thing. Thing.
Less Matthew in the world.
But Matthew, do you know what's a great thing? What's the best thing even? Matthew, do you know what the best thing is?
Sweets.
Okay, the second best thing, it's the beginning of the PC Gaming Weekspot. Hello and welcome to the 7th ever edition of the PC Gaming Weekspot. My name is Colin Mahern and joining me today is my partner in crime. How could I ever let him go? He is the Jack to my Rose. It is Matthew Castle.
Wait, does that mean I died in the ocean?
Semantics. Well, would you prefer? I can be Jack and you can be Rose if you want.
Their relationship was like a lot more romantic than ours.
Are you sure? Sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, would you prefer to be Billy Zane then? Would you be happier with that?
Oh, well, you're Rose, I'm Billy Zane. We were at one point together, no longer, but we both survived, sort of.
So I think everyone's happy. Yeah. Also, you could be the actor Billy Zane. Not
to keep the big diamond, which I didn't.
Yeah. But yes, on the PC Gaming Weekspot, we generally discuss the last 7 days in PC gaming, and today you'll be surprised to hear is no different. So coming up on today's show, in headlines and hot takes, it's so fresh, I don't even have it in the moving pictures bit there. Microsoft, mother of God, have bought Bethesda. Also, some chatter from the PlayStation 5 showcasey thing. Will Final Fantasy XVI come to PC? Because there's some confusion around that. Also, Cyberpunk 2077 had the 3rd episode of Night City Wire, which revealed a number of different things about gangs and whatever else, but we're focusing on the length of the game, which is apparently shorter than The Witcher 3. And we've got a very, very late Ubisoft Forward recap for you. That's exciting. The reason we have that is because Matthew Castle, he's been playing Immortals Fenyx Rising. Well, I'll rephrase that. He has played Immortals Fenyx Rising. And is it Breath of the Wild? Yes, but we'll find out more from the horse's mouth. Also, both myself and Matthew have been solving crime in the very good Paradise Killer. I think, anyway. We haven't discussed that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Matthew hates it. But one thing that isn't great is WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Surprise. Also on the show, Mystery Steam reviews. This current score is 3-2. Can Matthew make it level? It's the games in question are from 2016, so gonna really have to work our brains to remember back that far. Also, we'll be taking your questions, your burning questions, so get them in for that. And Steven Spielberg is not on the show.
What?
Yeah.
What happened?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Matthew.
I put on the tux.
Yeah, I know.
Spielberg. I didn't put this on for you.
Look. To me, that's a bit harsh, but you know, I respect your honesty. Steven Spielberg is not on tonight's show because I've been talking to his people, as I do often, in fact, and I was told that Stephen was put out a bit by the fact that he was bumped last week because there wasn't an episode of the PC Gaming Weekspot last week because of PAX Online / EGX Digital and all the stuff that was going around that. Right. And Stephen, he sorted out the internet. Everything was looking perfect. And yeah, we couldn't do it. So he's a little bit cross, Matthew. I'm sorry to say. I probably should have told you this off air, but here we are. You know, so sorry.
So we've missed our shot at Spielberg.
The good news is that Stephen is watching tonight. And he said that if we put in an excellent performance, particularly when we're discussing Microsoft and Bethesda, and he said he wants to hear a lot of chatter about how this is going to affect the stock market and the kind of more businessy aspect of it. He said if we bring that to the table, he'll definitely be on the next episode of the PC Gaming Weekspot, which isn't public service announcement. It isn't next Monday, but it's the Monday after. But we'll talk about all that at the end of the show.
We've got to win Spielberg's affection by talking excellent business chat.
Yes.
All right, I'll give it my best shot.
We'll try. I'm pretty confident that we'll succeed.
Dump Spielberg, they say in the chat.
But before we discuss more about Microsoft and Bethesda, and before we get into the headlines and hot takes, Matthew, I do have some information tidbits for that news gob of yours. So would you open up, please? Because yes, indeed, it is time. I've made a little sound for you, Matthew. It is time for this. Info snacks for his gob. So the info snacks I have for you, Matthew, is that EA Play, formerly known as Origin Access, or whatever it was called, is going to become part of Game Pass for PC later this year. You won't get the new EA games, but you will get access to the back catalogue. And in other EA news, very exciting news, Origin is now going to be referred to as EA Desktop. How excited are you?
Oh, it's such a sexy name. Get it in the gob.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 is the fastest selling game in series history, shifting 1 million copies in 10 days, and rightfully so, because it's very good. We also have some release date news for you.
Wait, does that mean that I hope they'll make Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, because that's the best one.
3 plus 4. Fingers crossed. Yeah, it'd be good. Well, I envision them continuing down this route rather than making new Tony Hawk games.
I can't remember if it is Activision. I think it's Activision that likes money, so I think they probably will.
It's hard to tell.
If it is them I'm thinking of, because there's one of them that doesn't, but I think they do.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is now coming out a week earlier on the 10th of November, so yeah, if you're looking, probably because of the consoles, I suppose. Here's some interesting little news for your news gob, Matthew. Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil creator Michel Ancel announced his retirement from video games after 30 years in the last 7 days because he's going to focus on his second passion, wildlife.
Oh.
Nice. Isn't that nice? He didn't actually, as far as I'm aware, he didn't say if he's opening a wildlife sanctuary or I'm not too sure what it actually is, but I don't know. He's focusing on wildlife, so that's nice.
That's secret code for redundancy. That's what they asked me to say. They were like, on Friday, could you tell everyone you're going to go and you're basically leaving to study your hobby of wildlife? And I was like,
Wink. And I've one other little information snack for you. Demon Souls was revealed during the big PS5 live stream, but someone made a boo-boo, Matthew, because they said that it was coming to PC, like in the trailer, and apparently this was down to quote human error, just quite an error. But look,
it's an error. That's the idea that they managed to not watch their own presentation and like fact check it at least once, because I used to run the Xbox UK YouTube channel and we checked things like pretty carefully for stuff like that to make sure we didn't accidentally announce games that don't exist. That's not ideal.
It's not. It isn't ideal. But yes, we were going to be starting off by chatting about the PS5 stuff, but there are bigger fish to fry, Matthew. So let's get into it. It is time for, as Colm looks for the thing, it is time for headlines and hot takes. Exciting. I'm a big fan of Gordon.
When you look at that, you think maybe the company made the right decision. I mean, that is the work of a man clearly phoning it in. Look at that font.
I think that's my favorite part of it, the font, actually. It's absolutely magnificent. But my favorite part of today, Matthew, I'm a sucker for this type of stuff, right? Because it's just, I don't know, it's a bit exciting. It shakes things up. It shakes things up. So
I'm all shook up.
So Microsoft have indeed bought Bethesda. Well, they bought ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda. So this was announced, and I thought, I don't know, was it announced like, or were they expecting to announce it today or what? Because there was no big pomp and circumstance in like a trailer or anything like that. It was an image that just showed all the series that ZeniMax have. But we have some quotes from Phil Spencer. Spencer said, Bethesda's games have always had a special place on Xbox and in the hearts of millions of gamers around the world. Our teams have a close and storied history working together, from the amazing first Doom and its id Tech engine, innovating games on PC, to Bethesda bringing their first console game to the original Xbox, the groundbreaking The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. Todd Howard, who you would know of lovely leather jacket fame, he also stuck his oar in, and he said, we share a deep belief in the fundamental power of games, in their ability to connect, empower, and bring joy. And a belief we should bring that to everyone, regardless of who you are, where you live, or what you play on, regardless of the screen size, the controller, or your ability to even use one. Now, that's a funny... I'll get through the stuff, but I find his quote slightly odd. But Pete Hines, the SVP of Marketing and Comms at Bethesda, said, we're still Bethesda. We're still working on the same games we were yesterday, made by the same studios we've worked with for years, and those games will be published by us. Because, and I think he was kind of, I suppose he had to say something like that, because there was a lot of chatter when this was announced about two games in particular, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, because they are timed exclusives on the PlayStation. And I don't believe they weren't timed console exclusives, were they, Matthew? I think they were I thought they were timed, like, across the board timed exclusives. I could be wrong.
Timed PS5 exclusives. PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah, but like I thought they were, the usual, like, if you want to play this on your console, you're going to have to play it on the PlayStation 5, but you will also be able to play it on PC. I can't remember.
They were timed console exclusives.
So Phil Spencer has said in an interview with Bloomberg that is still the case, but going forward, they're going to be taking it. I'll try and find it here, but I think it's a quote. I think he said they're going to take it on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Did I mention the figure? I don't believe I did. $7.5 billion, Matthew. What was it? They bought Mojang for 2.5, and Disney bought Star Wars for 4. $7.5 billion.
That's a lot.
That's a crazy amount of Mawam, yeah.
I was doing that's mega. That's all the Mawam on Earth. You could probably buy Haribo for $7.5 billion.
We can't say for definite, but probably. If you're listening, Stephen, there's our financial chat.
Mr. Spielberg, if you're listening, that's Haribo. They should buy Haribo. Oh, imagine if they included Haribo in Game Pass. Just get some Star Mix.
I'll be all about that.
You just press a button on your console and you get some Star Mix.
Just spat out of the disc tray. Yeah, it'd be good.
Definitely. As long as it's not the fried eggs.
Come on, fried eggs are great. Anyway, Matthew, what are your initial thoughts? Because when I first heard this, I did a high-pitched yelp, not out of excitement or out of like, wow, this is quite big news.
Yeah, I like big surprise news because you're always hearing these rumors of. I think actually the last time there was a big Bethesda rumor, it was that Sony was going to. There was like a rumored Sony was going to buy Bethesda a few years ago or something. But like, I find that these things often are crazy top secret just because of the nature of the business and probably the legal complexities of them. Like they have to be pretty down low. So it's always really fun when you get the biggies. Because just a couple of months ago there was the talk of, was it Warner Brothers? People thought Warner Brothers might be for sale, which would have been a pretty big sort of scalp. But I'd argue that Bethesda is a biggie.
Well, like,
it is a biggie. I mean, they haven't.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was saying like they like it's more of like what's to come. With that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, Elder Scrolls is massive. It's so many people's favorite game. And if you can control access to that, I mean, oh boy.
Well, on the image that they both Xbox and Bethesda posted, like here are your series. You've Dishonored, Wolfenstein, the Elder Scrolls, as you say, Fallout. Like, let's not forget the appeal of Fallout. Amazon are making a TV show. You've Doom, you've Starfield, as you said, which is we don't know much about it, but we're led to believe it's this space RPG. The Evil Within, and Prey. And the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and maybe I'd put Doom slightly underneath them. But you've so many big hitters that it's mental. Like they Phil Spencer did say that, or either him or Xbox in an omnipotent God way said that Bethesda games will be coming to Game Pass as well, for both console and PC. And I do wonder though, like you said, you control the Elder Scrolls, for example. Do you think that Xbox would hang on to something like the Elder Scrolls 6? Because that is a series that has appeared on the PlayStation. Well, it's appeared on everything. It appeared on an Alexa. Like, whereas Starfield, for example, there is no precedent set with that. That is only, or that hasn't appeared on anything.
It's the balance of, you compare it to maybe like the Minecraft deal, where obviously they have supported it on every platform under the sun and continue to support it, but it was established already. So, and they bought it because it was like the biggest game on the planet, or one of the biggest games on the planet. So it just made sense to keep making all that money. I don't know. I think they're trying to keep quiet on it because obviously, like, Xbox, the next console, I think it goes on pre-orders tomorrow,
Yeah, I think
which
so.
makes the timing today seem pretty specific, I'd say. I'd say they want you to imagine they're not going to put it on PlayStation so that you go and pre-order their box tomorrow and indeed buy their box. I mean, these games are far away, by all accounts. They got Starfield and then you'll get Elder Scrolls 6 after that. Isn't that the plan? That studio is the studio that you would think would make Elder Scrolls 6 is making Starfield at the moment. I believe is the setup.
I believe that's the case as well.
Yeah. So it really is a balance. I mean, are they doing it to just make loads of money, or to specifically shift consoles, or just make the Game Pass extra attractive? It's unhelpfully just super impossible to say, really. I'd be very surprised if they didn't try and milk some exclusivity, get it for a year or get it for 6 months on Xbox first. I mean, on PC, I think we'll be just seeing all this stuff on day one, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Selfishly, I don't really care what happens on PlayStation 5. So,
when they bought when they bought Double Fine.
Yeah.
Psychonauts had already been announced for other platforms, so Microsoft said that they weren't going to change that. There was another studio with a game again, and it was the same thing. Because it had been announced for other platforms other than, say, Windows or Xbox, they were like, we'll honor that and they will come out. Yeah. But you look like the Elder Scrolls is the interesting one here because that hasn't been announced for anything. Yeah,
it's the biggest. I'd say it's probably the biggest thing they have. Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's I would say there for a chunk of people that is I will go where I can play that game. Though arguably the PC connection. Some people have said, all this does is mean I can buy a PS5 because I know it's coming to PC and I already have a PC. So actually, it may sort of negate that in a way. I think it would be crazy to take something that big and have a smaller audience. That doesn't sound like it makes sense to me.
I suppose you could look at it that Microsoft win either way. If they release it on the PlayStation, then they get PlayStation bucks. If they keep it on the Xbox, then maybe they sell a couple of more consoles. It's just whichever way they'll make more money. I don't know.
You don't know how much money they're actually looking to make. The fact that they can throw around 7.5 billion like that. I mean, there's always talks of a lot of these purchases are they've got not more money than sense, but they've got to you avoid some crazy tax bills by buying spending this money on weird acquisitions and things. Mm-hmm. So I mean, who knows the sort of the inspiration behind it, but I mean, it's just fun. I like big power plays. I mean, regardless of who they do or don't benefit, there's something quite exciting about big, bold stuff like that, especially coming out of nowhere.
I wholeheartedly
excited that EA games were going to be on Game Pass, and then you're like, yeah, well, check out this. So
I mean, and as I said at the top, old EA games, they're not. You're not going to be getting FIFA 21. You're going to be getting FIFA 20, which is grand, but with this, you're going to be in theory getting Elder Scrolls 6 day and date.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, I've seen a few people mention it in the comments as well. The distinction between Game Pass versus the very expensive price of next gen games. They're already talking about $70, £60 PlayStation 5 games. I mean, in that light, by all means, release it on everything, but just take everyone, take all the PlayStation 5 people for the big money, while all the Xbox Game Pass people get it for a much more reasonable price. I mean, it's exciting. I've seen quite a few people voice oh, that's another studio they'll wreck. But I think we're in a slightly different era of Xbox now, or actually they had a lot of stuff which closed under them. They've currently got a lot of amazing studios. It's all relatively early days. I don't know. I'd give them a bit of time and space to see what they actually do.
I think like it's a hard one to. I was just going to say it's a hard one to mess up, Bethesda, but we'll see. But like, yeah, give them time and
I'm surprised
see what happens.
How like the studios they have bought have just seemed to be sort of trundling along the trajectories they had when they were purchased. They haven't all instantly been shunted onto weird Microsoft first party franchises or anything like that. You had your Obsidian doing their Grounded and all that kind of stuff. I didn't think we'd see that. I thought they would shut a lot of stuff down and just shift everyone onto the biggies, but they seem to be relatively hands off, and all the studio heads when they're acquired and after they're acquired always speak to the fact that they are relatively autonomous, which is they might just be saying that with might just be a gun off screen. And they're like, it's great.
Yeah, I know. But, we'll I mean, time will tell with that one, and probably over a number of years. But either way, like you, I don't know. I find all that quite exciting.
I want to be optimistic about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's my natural mode is optimism for this.
Like maybe in a couple of years' time, on the PC Gaming Weekspot episode 1046, we'll be like, yeah, that wasn't great. That completely killed Bethesda, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting a lot more games on Games Pass because it's cheap.
Yeah, exactly. But Matthew, the other kind of big happening in the last week was PlayStation's showcasey thing. I can't even remember what they called it, to be quite honest. But they started strong with Final Fantasy XVI. And oddly enough, they began the little trailer with a message saying that the gameplay was captured on a PC emulating a PlayStation 5 experience. So most people were like, that's quite interesting wording. What does that mean? Do we have confirmation that it's coming to PC, and what's going on here? But Square Enix PR spoke to Gamatsu and said that a PC release hasn't been confirmed yet.
Well, the thing at the start said it's PlayStation 5 exclusive and it's going to be on PC.
Yeah. But they but
then they said no. Yeah, afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. which I mean, yeah, it is odd. No, the actual trailer that we saw, Final Fantasy, but in I don't know, kind of weird medieval sort of feeling.
A return to what it kind of used to be, really. It's a more of a fantasy Final Fantasy, which they'd kind of moved away from, starting with 7. Then the last one he had 9, which kind of went back to the sort of fantasy elements of it, and then most of the others were pretty modern feeling. I guess 12 was had a little bit of a fantasy sort of vibe. Arguably 14, which I haven't played the MMO, but a lot of people say this channels a lot of that vibe. Which maybe isn't surprising, as the producer on 16 is a key figure in 14, either a producer or one time maybe the director of it. So yeah, it's kind of a bit more of a traditional Final Fantasy.
Yeah, see, I suppose I mean I have no dog in the fight of Final Fantasy, but the kind of, and it is odd because the clue is in the name, Final Fantasy, as you said. I kind of think of Final Fantasy as that cyberpunky, steampunky, because of Final Fantasy VII. But then, like you said,
it used to be knights and mages and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and a lot more kind of fantasy-ish. So that I'm excited for. I'm also excited that, like, by all accounts, this is relatively early on. Like, they're talking about it being, you'll see it again next year, and it's quite far off. But like, they're showing what looks like relatively far along ideas. At least you can sort of see that all the footage and get an idea of what the game's going to be like. Where I think where they went wrong with 15 was that it was this ever evolving thing, and it didn't really settle on being Final 15 until pretty much the last 2 years. By which point it was just a bit of a rescue job for the manic development period, which was allegedly a nightmare. And it started off as a different game entirely, and changed names and changed combat systems, changed story focus. Here, I like the idea of the strengths of 15, which is like, I quite like the live action, the live kind of combat system, for example.
Yeah.
But in a game which kind of just like a more stable, like an entirely stable development period behind it, something which sets out with a vision and delivers on it. Because 15 was such a mess. I love it to bits, but it is a mess. It's kind of a charming casserole of half-baked ideas. And like, it's been a long time since we had just like a Final Fantasy arrive out the gate, completely fully formed, confident of itself, delivering the goods. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for, that they're through this slightly awkward, like, teething period of like working out what like new Final Fantasy is sort of about, which is this action focus. And you already saw it in the 7 remake on PS4. Like, that itself felt a lot more coherent and focused and capable than 15. And the idea of like the next big entry kind of coming with that kind of confidence, that I think that's quite exciting.
Probably the other big game coming out of PlayStation 5's big showcase thing was Hogwarts Legacy. Talking about not having a dog in the fight. Harry Potter's another series that I don't really care about, but other people do. Hogwarts Legacy is set in the 1800s. This is the game that has been rumored for so long. It's the RPG where you can be a little wizard, and I suppose you can see here, grow up in Hogwarts, and I don't know, Matthew, I don't know Harry Potter, but it's developed by Avalanche Software, which is the studio behind Disney Infinity, not the Mad Max Just Cause people. Warner Brothers, when they announced the game, said, "Your character is a student who holds the key to an ancient secret that threatens to tear the wizarding world apart. You have received a late acceptance to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and soon discover that you are no ordinary student. You possess an unusual ability to perceive and master ancient magic. Only you can decide if you will protect the secret for the good of all, or yield to the temptation of more sinister magic." So then, I suppose this was announced, and
I thought this looked all right. I thought this looked quite flashy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're super into the Harry Potter thing, which I'm not, not massively. I read them when I was a kid, but like, as a sort of setting, it's still quite fun. There's a reason it was like one of the biggest book series in the world. And the idea of someone doing it like proper justice, because the EA stuff was always a little bit rough around the edges. Never quite kind of clicked it into place. I like the Lego one as well. I thought that was good.
I played a Kinect one that I can't remember the name of. What was that called?
Was that the one which was a bit like Gears of War?
Like Gears of War.
It's like a cover shooter.
Maybe I honestly can't remember. But this was announced, and naturally enough, you'd want to be living under a rock to not be aware of the public's perception of JK Rowling right now. But JK Rowling has said some nasty things about the trans community in the last couple of weeks, maybe months at this stage. And Warner Brothers themselves. So some of the general public were like, like Harry Potter, don't like JK. Oh, I don't know what to do now. But Warner Brothers did say that JK Rowling is not creatively involved with Hogwarts Legacy. They said that while her extraordinary body of writing was the basis for the game, they said that this is not a new story from JK Rowling.
Right.
I mean,
I guess they're trying to make a distinction with like the Fantastic Beasts films where she's quite involved, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's still her property. So, you know, she's still...
Will probably still be putting money in her pockets.
That's what I was just about to say. She's still going to be making cash off it. But, you know, that's... I don't know. That's up for you to decide, I guess. But
what a daring and bold stance.
Well, I mean, my stance is I think she's a nasty. She seems like quite a nasty woman, and I would say that I don't know. You know, don't buy it if you feel that strongly about it. Again, I don't. I've no issue. I've no dog in the fight when it comes to Harry Potter. But you know, I'm sure some people watching do. In other news, Cyberpunk 2077, Matthew. We have some PC specs. Ooh,
at last.
Very, very exciting. As always, we aren't exactly the most technically minded of lads, but some people out there are.
I talked to Digital Foundry at an event once and understood about 20% of what we said and just went for most of it.
So I would have been very, very similar. But yeah, basically, you don't have to get one of those fancy, what are they called, 3080s to run this game. You can have, the minimum specs ask for a GTX 780 GPU, which I think the majority of people watching this probably do have, if not better. But they do recommend a 1060 6 gigabyte or an AMD Radeon R9 Fury.
They sound like things you'd get and plug into your body in Cyberpunk.
Don't they?
I have a Radeon R9 Fury, and it's like a metal finger to give the finger to people, but then it gets really long.
The thing that the both of us can understand is that it will take up to 70 gigabytes of storage in your hard drive, which is, I mean, it's not tiny, but also it's not bad. I was expecting worse, to be honest.
I love our tech chat. That sounds all right. 70 gigs. Yeah, it's probably all right.
One thing. All right.
Rubbish.
All right, enough of tech chat then. Let's talk about the length of the game, Matthew. That's something we could talk about. We know the length of games. So CD Projekt Red, who was it? It was the Quest designer Patrick Mills spoke with streamer Carnage, I believe it is pronounced.
Yes, yeah.
And they said that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be shorter than The Witcher 3. They said, where's the quote? They said, we got a lot of complaints about The Witcher 3's main story just being too long. And looking at the metrics, you see tremendous numbers of players played through that game really far, but never made it to the end. Now, during this, what's it called, Night City Wire, during the other ones, during interviews, all that, it sounds like, you know, Cyberpunk isn't a small game. It's quite dense. There's an awful lot going on. Of course there is. But if it's slightly shorter than The Witcher 3, I welcome that, Matthew. I wouldn't have a massive issue with that. I know you, you're a big Witcher 3 fan.
Yeah, I know. I like The Witcher 3 being a big, chunky epic, but I think that kind of comes with the territory of what the game is like. A lot of the good side quest stuff. I think the reason I spent so long is that the Witcher 3 is one of the few games with side quests I really, really love. You know, here they're talking, I think, quite explicitly about like the main quest line. Getting through the game is going to be a bit shorter than The Witcher 3, but you know, it's still going to be a world dense with stuff. I have no doubt it's going to eat up a big old chunk of time. I mean, I'd say the other big difference that seems to be emerging between this and The Witcher 3 is that this is more of a role-playing game, and the world can shape to that character. So there is an argument for slightly leaner games that you're more likely to replay and see through. Because the problem with The Witcher I had was that I felt like I did everything in that world over like 120 hours, say. And there were things I could do differently, but then the idea of having to play another 120 hours to make some different decisions at like 20 hours in or whatever, wasn't that appealing. Where, already with Cyberpunk, it's got this structure where the life stories you pick that kind of define your character, which of the three paths you take changes the start of the game. Like, you start in 3 different places. There are bespoke missions. Like, for starters, I want to see all the bespoke stuff for the 3 paths. And I hope that there'll be more. Like, it sounds like there will be stuff through the game that is specific to those characters. So say like something that, a hypothetical, say it was 40 hours.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to do that a couple of times to see that different stuff, to be able to see how it morphs and changes. I'd rather something that was dense. And it's kind of a similar argument with the Outer Worlds, which actually for an RPG is like, can be done in about 15 hours, but that's 15 hours you can then redo and take quite drastic paths through it.
Well,
I don't
like
think
with this you have, because we discussed it when they did episode 2. Like, you have the corpo path, you have the kind of
kid,
and the Badlands or Outlands or whatever it's called
or something.
So and from what they've shown, it does seem, again, like you said, that taking those paths will lead to quite different playthroughs. So yeah, I think I'm the same. If it was 150 hours, it's like, I'm playing through this once and never again. Whereas if it's 30 or 40,
and that's fine.
maybe.
I think that works. If like you've got a character like Geralt, who you can't change Geralt. He is Geralt through the whole game. Here you are playing as your person and you're doing your things. And and also I think you have to take into account that it's a city, not a county. So, it's going to be closer together. It's going to be, it's probably going to be a faster moving game because of that. Like, you aren't riding across endless fields to get to your next objective. It's going to be packed in, and I'm really excited for that game. I find this stuff always a little bit overdone, overstated, and people focus on these conversations too much. It'd be a bit different if it was like, you play it and it's done in 6 hours or something. But
so you're saying that people, people hear Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be shorter than The Witcher, and they go, it's 2.5 hours.
I don't think anyone's thinking that, but I think it's quite crude. The long equals good. But something which is a little shorter but a bit more replayable in a meaningful way. Because I didn't think The Witcher was. That's not one of its strengths, I'd say. I'd be up for that.
I very much agree. And a very late recap of Ubisoft Forward, because we haven't done the Weekspot in 2 weeks, but we'll go through this quite quickly, Matthew, because one game we're going to focus more in depth in a second. But we got like news of a new Scott Pilgrim versus the World Complete Edition coming sometime next year.
Did you like that one?
Right, okay. I didn't realize we were going to discuss this more. No. I did. I did like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but
I just know that you like your scroll and beat 'em ups.
Yeah, no, I do like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but I do think that because it was taken down off of stores, maybe the legend of it grew a little bit more than its quality. Like, again, it is a good game. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think Streets of Rage 4 is terrific. Like, it's, but
play that instead.
Kind of, but again, it's still Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, very good. The music, although I'd imagine it's all kind of chiptune-y, Matthew, not into it.
That's all right.
Okay, all right.
I like my bleeps and my bloops.
Yeah, they're like, this game has very good bleeps and bloops. It is good. It is good. What else happened? Oh yeah, I forgot this. There's going to be Watch Dogs Legion DLC that brings back Aiden Pierce for some reason, and also Stormzy. Yeah. The Steep developers are making a game called Riders Republic, which looks like Steep, but also Descenders, you know, the mountain biking game. And I don't know, it's colourful and whatever.
I secretly quite liked Steep.
Really?
I think Steep was a little bit underrated. I actually found it quite chilled, just skiing around on those big mountains, and it's a little bit unfocused maybe, but I didn't mind it.
Like, oh, didn't the mountain talk? Am I right? I'm pretty sure the mountain spoke to you in a very like a mountain-like voice, which is obviously, I am a mountain.
I don't
ski down the hill.
Unless it's like just the spirit of the mountain.
I thought the mountain spoke.
It's not like it hasn't got a mouth.
No.
It was a bit more sensible than that.
But yeah,
it's a little bit like I joked about it on Twitter. The problem I have with games like that, they show all the customizable stuff, and it's all like a man in a kilt, and he's got like a giant plastic mouse head. And
yeah,
I find that's quite tiresome, isn't it?
It's so zany.
Like, yeah, like I'd much rather. It's funnier to have like just a man in a like a good-looking business suit trying to snowboard or something. That's funnier.
Agreed. Yes, and the Prince of Persia, Prince Dastan. He's back, Matthew, in the Sands of Time remake. The very first remake from Ubisoft. It's coming out on the 21st of January, 2021. What do you mean?
It's Ubisoft's first remake?
Yeah, that's what they said during the...
Whatever?
Mm-hmm. That's what they said.
Well, that's not. They remade the original Prince of Persia. The 2D one. They did a remake of that.
That's what they said during the Ubisoft Forward.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You can't say that.
I will write a strongly worded letter and send it in as soon as we get done here. But Prince of Persia remake, are you... Because when we were discussing the rumours around this, I think you were... You spoke quite highly of Prince of Persia.
I really like it. I'm not wild about this new art style. Like, it's sort of... I don't know. There's something off about it, isn't it? I mean, it's weird because it's like I think it's an Indian studio. Isn't it Ubisoft Pune? Pune, I believe.
Okay.
And they're like, we've based it on like local things.
Okay.
You know, like we know this sort of territory better than most.
Right.
But I'm not mad about like the character redesigns. The actual world, I'm sure, will be fine. But I also have played and loved that game, you know, and I played it a fair amount. And I don't know. I'd rather have new Prince of Persia. But
this is them surely testing the waters, isn't it? And seeing how much, like the way Activision, who we spoke about, do enjoy money. Like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy made them money, so then they went, okay, well, we'll give you a new Crash then. Like, if this does well for Ubisoft...
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, and you get a team used to the tech and how that character handles. You'd imagine you'd get the other... If this does well, you'd get the grim ones that followed the warrior within, the kind of emo Prince of Persia.
Right, yeah.
This one looks like it's lost a little of the dreamy atmosphere, maybe. Like, because the original was it had this like hazy look to it, this like light bloom, and you know the fact that it was a story being told, and you know the way the prince would sort of say, "Oh no, that's not how it happened," and it had this sort of like very cool vibe. I still hope it has that, but it's hard to tell from the trailer.
Well, was that down to technical limitations? Like, for example, I know Demon Souls has the Demon Souls remake. Some people are like, "Oh, this looks great," or whatever, whereas other people are thinking that, no, it's losing the essence of the original Demon Souls because it looks a little bit too clean. Is that kind of what you're saying about this? Or am I picking up wrong?
Maybe, but like, you know, it has been, it's only been a couple of years. I think I replayed it on Xbox when they bought the Xbox originals. I think you can play it on Xbox One. So I have played it relatively recently, and it was nice. But yeah, I do like that game. I like that world. Like, more Prince of Persia isn't a bad thing. I hope it's not like stupidly expensive or anything. If it's like 15 quid or something, I'd be up for that. But
I'd
or even
imagine
better on Game Pass.
the Game Pass boys strike again.
I can't afford games anymore, so I just want everything to be on Game Pass. So,
I mean, who doesn't? Game Pass is it's absolutely lovely. But there was one other game that was shown off at Ubisoft Forward, Matthew. But to talk about that, we should probably introduce the next segment, which is indeed Show and Tell.
Show and tell, show and tell. We can't afford a proper jingle. It's meant to be jingle.
You say phoning it in, Matthew. I say artistic genius.
That was brought up in my redundancy meetings. That was literally used as evidence against me. They were like, "This," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did make that." I was tempted. I was like, "Cullum made it," but I thought, no. And look at which of us remains. So.
But I can't segue. I don't know. I am immortal.
Yes, good segue.
But you are a phoenix that will rise up from the ashes, or something like that. Gods and Monsters was originally announced in 2018, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. But anyway, it's not called Gods and Monsters anymore, Matthew. It is called Immortals Fenyx Rising, and it looks an awful lot like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You got to play an hour of it, was it?
Do you remember why it's now not called Gods and Monsters?
I do. Isn't it because of Monster, the drink, Monster Energy?
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently Monster Energy drink said you can't have a gaming product called Monster, something Monster. I mean, there's Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, why would they not go after Capcom with like Gods and Monsters? I've never.
That story is a bit of a mysterious one, isn't it?
So like, yeah, Immortals Fenyx Rising, a much worse name, like a much worse name. But how does it play, Matthew Castle? Tell me, and all the people watching and listening at home, what is Immortals Fenyx Rising? You got to play an hour of it, as I said. What did you think?
It is. It's got the look and sort of not the look. It's got definite Zelda vibes in that the nature of the open world exploration is quite freeform. You can climb up anything, unlike Assassin's Creed. It's got a stamina meter. You can hover with a little thing, which also your wings, and they're changed by the stamina meter too. So those things are very Zelda-y, the relationship between like movement and stamina. You can do these shrines, which are like this thing with the red crystals in front of us. When you go into that, you get like a Zeus token, which in turn will help you improve your stamina, which is obviously the Zelda thing. So it's Zelda-y as hell. The team deny this, which is absolutely kind of incredible. I believe they told Alice when she interviewed them for Rock Paper Shotgun that they were like, "Oh, we're inspired like loads of fun cartoon games like Jak and Daxter," and you're like, sure you were.
Why would you not just say Breath of the Wild? I suppose is it like you don't want to be compared to a game that many people say is like not only the greatest game of the last couple of years, but many people say the greatest game ever. So you're maybe on a hiding to nothing.
Shame in robbing from a great game.
Yeah,
but I'd say it's that the combat is it's a bit more like cartoon Assassin's Creed. That it's kind of got these RPG elements. You've also got like a kind of a 4 face buttons which you can put the special abilities on, which is very like modern Assassin's Creed anyway. And the skill trees and things all look quite Assassin's-y to me. And I think there's a light loot element. It's not like characters are dropping loot all the time, but I think you can get weapons and equipment that will plug in and change your kind of core move sets, which is all fine. It's fine. I think the thing that I liked about it was I quite like the cartoony looks. I like games with lots of color in them. I like the focus on puzzling, and actually, it's relatively what's the right word for it? Like pure in terms of it doesn't hold your hand too much. Like when these Ubisoft games have puzzles, they are actually often quite they're quite basic, and they're basically designed to be minor hurdles as you go and chop up the next thing. Where here there are some like quite big puzzles built into the environments that took me like half an hour to kind of get my head around and work out. Some of that I think is some of the puzzle design is maybe a little they're not very good at showing you like the boundaries for certain puzzles. So it's kind of hard to say, like, am I not getting this, or is there a part of this puzzle like beyond that wall or stuff?
Right. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
You wouldn't get that in a Nintendo game. Like Nintendo is that, you know, their art of everything is it's very, very clean, but you still learn to do it. Here, it feels like a team that's having its first go at that kind of puzzle design, and it doesn't get it right. This is one of the little kind of shrines that you drop into. It's got like a mad pinball machine fight, which is quite fun. So like each shrine has a different feel to it. I thought it was going to be just kids Assassin's Creed, but actually the focus on this kind of puzzle and platforming stuff, quite refreshing. I like it. I'm a big Nintendo fan. I kind of dig that. I think it's got a slightly like hard, like I didn't, there's not a lot of magic in it that you maybe get in like Zelda in terms of like the feel of the world. It doesn't feel very organic. It still feels quite gamey. And
but is that because of your attachment to Zelda? Like, because, you know, Zelda has been going on for however X amount of years.
But like I think Nintendo have a kind of slightly more laid back charm. There's a bit more like innocence to that. Here, it's got a bit more hard edge. It just feels, I don't know, it just feels more American to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
even though it's like Greek.
Yeah, but like the humor in it. So one of the things I actually quite like this about it, it's got the whole game, I think, is basically like commentated on by these two bickering gods. And the writing was quite funny in the demo. Like I actually laughed a couple of times, which I very rarely do. And they're like, there's lots of in jokes about, you know, it's that kind of
fourth wall breaking type of jokes.
Yeah, and they're like, of course you've got to climb up the tower. This is a Ubisoft game and all this kind of stuff.
Oh,
and, you know,
demolishes the fourth wall.
That I quite liked. I thought like it can be quite obnoxious, but it was done quite well, and like the voice performances were fun and sold it quite well. But then there's stuff like all the potion system is like picking up the ingredients, and it's like there are 4 ingredients and they're color coded to particular potions. That just feels a bit more like streamlined than in Zelda, where you're just collecting like mushrooms and a bit of meat and this and that and the other, and you kind of stick it in the pot and see what you get. Like it feels a bit harder edged, a bit kind of colder. But I did like the puzzling. I think the puzzles are actually pretty big, pretty fun to get your head around. A little bit janky in places in terms of like there's like, so you can see here, there's some stuff with like physics with certain objects, which feels a little like not as clean as like Nintendo managed to get it.
Right.
But it's interesting enough. Like it's not just a, you know, kiddie thing. It's not just an easy, you know, they haven't phoned it in at all. You know, I'll probably give it a go. I'm interested to see, like we were limited to playing in one area of the map, but they say that you can do the whole game in any order, like Breath of the Wild. And I'm intrigued to see like what that actually means and how they actually deal with that stuff. Because in Zelda, you know, it's expertly done, and yeah, I didn't mind it. You know, there are worse things to mimic than Zelda, and this is actually a pretty decent first attempt at that, I think.
No, I mean, looking at the footage, the pinball puzzle looks quite intriguing. Like that part there where you're breaking up the rocks to kind of spread them across the buttons on the floor or whatever it is. Yeah, like it doesn't seem like baby's first Zelda or baby's first Assassin's Creed or whatever.
No,
like
it's just it's very hard to put into words because it's the sort of secret sauce that makes Nintendo worlds come alive. It's little things like in Immortals, it's got all this wafty grass and you can't cut it, but you can cut it in Zelda, and little things like that. Like the world isn't quite as reactive as you want it to be. The bits you can interact with are like very strictly the things Ubisoft would want you to interact with for puzzles or for combat, and it hasn't got like the spark of life, which is my annoyingly vague thing. I love in games, and it's quite hard to pin down, but like sometimes something just has that extra kind of like bit of joyfulness.
Je ne sais quoi. Does it have like could you solve puzzles in different ways? A la
I didn't
Breath
get
of the
that
Wild.
feel, like in the same way that a lot of Zelda dungeons are like, here's a room and here's like some switches and some boxes and there is a way to do this. I think there are some of them you could mix up. So there was some stuff about like setting these furnaces on fire, and like you could find lumps of coal, take them to a torch, set them on fire, and then put them in the furnace. Or you could put them in the furnace and then shoot a fire arrow into the furnace to light it up. So like that, Breath of the Wild has like that kind of alchemy system with like the fire and water conducts lightning and this, that, and the other. And they're pretty free that like if you can make those sort of rules work for you, you can solve things in interesting ways. Here, I didn't sense like similar depth of systems, but there's some wiggle room. It's kind of interesting.
Okay. December 3rd is when we'll get to play the full version of Immortals Fenyx Rising.
Is there going to be a big free demo of it on Stadia or something? I don't know if you have to be subscribed to Stadia, but I think, aren't they doing that? I think they said, but
I hadn't heard, to be honest, but if they are, go play that. And you'll be able to see for yourself. Another game that you should go play, Paradise Killer, a game that both I and Matthew have played and came out, I suppose, a couple of weeks ago now, maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. I think Paradise Killer is an utter delight. It is, for those that aren't aware, it's a detective game where you play Lady Love Dies.
She's a people's princess and she kicks ass.
And you must track down Charles and Camilla. No, you play Lady Love Dies, who is this detective who was banished for however long, 3 million years or something like that. And you have been called back by the judge, who's like just the head of the island, because the council, it's very weird, right? The council, who are the ruling body of the island, they've all been murdered. So you must come back to the island and figure out who murdered them. But this island, that's not the only weird thing about this island. It is the 24th sequence of this particular island, because it keeps on regenerating as they look for paradise, essentially. But each time they regenerate, something goes wrong and they have to start over again. And as I say, you have to figure out who killed the council, but there are a number of other different cases as well that you're tasked with figuring out. And
I just say, this is very brave of you trying to explain this absolutely batshit world. But
I know, I'm trying my best. But yeah, you've all these other cases that you must figure out. And so you get to the bottom of this by mostly talking to the people of Paradise Killer. And again, if you're watching the footage, odd and weird people, like the red skeleton, the deer with large breasts, the whatever else there is.
My favourite kind of deer.
There are just very, very odd cast of characters, but it's written quite well. Like the writing is fairly grounded, I think.
Yeah, it's got its own rhythm. It's quite like the world is like ludicrous and almost nonsensical, but everyone talks in this quite cool way where they can't. You don't really. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the characters don't feel super abstract. They
No.
feel like sort of relatable, even though they are skeletons and whatnot.
But yeah, you go around and you chat to all of these people and you get testimonies from them, which then updates your case files. So they might say, yeah, I think I saw Matthew with a knife dripping with blood and driving it into this person. So you go, maybe I should go chat to Matthew. So then you've chat to him and you just keep going around this island. Chatting to all the people as you gain more statements from different people. But from the conversation that you're having, it looks like a visual novel. It's not. Well, there's that aspect. But yeah, it's a first-person game as well where you can travel around Paradise Killer, picking up blood crystals, which is currency, and also other things like using vending machines, which, not spoiling anything, that's something you should probably do. Or using foot spas. Again, that's something you should probably do. It's absolutely mental, but I just really enjoy it, Matthew. Like,
Yeah,
it's not perfect, but yeah, I really enjoy. How did you get on with Paradise Killer?
I haven't finished it yet because the one thing we should note, like the end of the game is the trial, which you can activate at any point. You can say like, I'm ready to do this, and it's basically whatever you've collected up to that point. And then that'll be it. That's you'll do the trial, and that'll be the end of the game. Or so I'm led to believe. That's how.
No, you're right. That's how it works. Yeah.
And so I'm still going around collecting clues. Like for a detective game, it's like weirdly, it's very like the meat of the game is like investigating. So like moving around, looking for clues, and it almost has this like slight Crackdown vibe, in that you're also like platforming around this quite vertical city, and you can like level up your jumping a bit, but also it's about like trying to find higher ground so you can drop onto certain locations, and it almost rewards that kind of platforming exploration with like hidden clues. Like often you'll think you've got an idea of what's going on, and then you'll get the drop on what feels like a secret crime scene or something, and it can spin the game off in a different direction. So that's quite interesting. Like I've never seen a game like make navigation such a key part of like the investigation phase. I really like the characters. It's very Suda 51 inspired, and it really captures the flavor of his earlier games. They're very hard to say what they are like. Like I see some people going like, oh, it's just all a bit anime, isn't it? But it's not. It's like very cool. It's about like fonts and slightly kind of dated graphic design. Like the music is crazy.
I mean, that is the thing. It is like I don't know. I don't want to say it looks like shit, but like it doesn't look like shit at all. It's stylized. Like the characters in the world are just like flat 2D cardboard cutouts, but it works because of this weird, odd world that you find yourself in. It's just oozing style, and that is how it looks and how it sounds. Yeah,
it's not quite like Fenyx, right? It's not quite like Danganronpa. It's not quite like Zero Escape, but it's kind of got little bits of all of that stuff. Like if you're into like sort of Japanese thrillers, Japanese sort of detective games, those kind of visual novels, there's something in there. It's a real like soup of influences. Like just learning about the world and unpicking it, and over time is really interesting. I'm still doing it. I'm still trying to get to the end of it and work out what it's all about. But it's made by like pretty much like two chaps and a couple of supporting kind of art, some art support, music, a composer and whatnot. It's a real surprise. I'm really, really into it. Support interesting stuff like this, so that we get more interesting stuff like this.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's like to your point about it encouraging like exploration and how you going to a different area, like stumbling across a crime scene or a new part of the crime scene that you couldn't initially get to can totally blow a thing wide open. So it isn't just about going to character A and exhausting all of the options and then going to character B. There is more to it than that. Quite a lot more, actually. I really fell for this. I really like it, and definitely finish it, Matthew. It's great. I really like it.
I might do that tomorrow.
Oh, Matthew. A game that isn't quite as good is WWE 2K Battlegrounds.
What? You surprised me.
Now, I played this. Or I had a choice at the weekend, right? I said to myself, I'm either going to play Hades, a game that people are raving about, love. This is phenomenal, top tier, maybe one of the games of the year. Or I'm going to play WWE 2K Battlegrounds. I played WWE 2K Battlegrounds because I was like, well, one, I'm off on holiday soon, and I was like, no, I'm gonna really dive into Hades then. So I want to give 2K Battlegrounds a go, see what it's like, because this is very reminiscent of what was it called? WWE All Stars, which was a very cartoony, over the top wrestling game from God, how long ago was that? It's a couple of years ago now, anyway. Between 5 and 10.
It had Hulk Hogan in it, right?
Yeah, it had Hulk Hogan.
So it must have been pre-naughty Hulk Hogan stuff.
Oh no, WWE are friends with Hulk Hogan again.
Okay, right, cool.
Yep. My thoughts exactly. This is similar to that in that it's totally over the top. When you perform moves in this game, characters will like launch other wrestlers into the air and do totally over the top, impossible things. Now, a lot of people have a soft spot for All Stars because it's maybe the last wrestling game that was truly, or maybe at least veered more towards your pick up and play. Because recently, the wrestling games, they're way too complicated. Like, there's no way you can just... You can't just...
I press a button and a bloke just starts running forever, and I'm like, oh, that's that then.
I don't know what's happening. Like, whereas you think of, like, I don't know, No Mercy or the SmackDown games or whatever, where there were some complexities, but you could play them. You didn't need a degree or have to go through all this training to pick it up. So this... The idea from a lot of people was like, okay, we're going back to that more simplistic style. They've gone too far, Matthew. They've gone too far. Because characters are like, I say characters, that's what they are rather than wrestlers really, because they're split up into different classes. You have Powerhouse. I'm going off memory here. I think it's Powerhouse, Technician, High Flyer, Murderers, Royalists, I don't know, whatever it is. There are a number of different classes, and all of them have a number of moves, all of them have one moveset to each class, apart from their finishing moves. So if you play as one Powerhouse versus another Powerhouse, it's the same. It's the same moveset, barring a couple of different things, but not many. There are, Matthew, I think you mightn't be able to hear me now, but don't worry. You should be able to hear me shortly if you can't. Oh, you can? Okay. Apologies. That's my fault then. It's just too samey. But still, I think it is lacking that true pick up and play ability because there is a little bit to it. It's a little bit too complicated, but also too simplistic in a weird way. Like the moveset's available to you.
Weird soup.
It is a very, very weird soup. Also, the modes within the game are like you have two main modes. You have the campaign mode and you have, it's called like Battlegrounds something or other. I can't remember what it is. But the first mode is campaign mode, where you play as 7 made-up wrestlers.
Right.
And the cutscenes are these like comic panels that you go through. It's so boring. It's just this. It's just a constant stream of matches. And the other mode, where you play as your created wrestler, is the same thing. Just match after match after match after match, and you win. You win these like power-ups that you can utilize. Like you can see maybe from the footage of like at times the characters glowing yellow or red or green or whatever. So you win rewards and skills along the way. But there's nothing to compel you to play more. It's not great.
What about for fans of wrestling? Like in terms of like what eras are you covering here? Is it just like current modern stuff, or is it a bit more of a like dip into some classics?
It's a bit of both. As far as it is a bit of both. Like you have your modern wrestlers and some of the other ones as well. Actually, speaking of Hulk, I think he's in here somewhere too.
Oh, so did I see Andre the Giant there?
Yes, yeah. So you have some of the older lads as well, but when you start the game,
good character select screen.
But this isn't the character select screen. This is where you buy characters. Because unless I'm missing something, and I will say I haven't put like loads of hours into this.
Yeah. That's
how you unlock characters, is by getting these whatever WWE bucks and then dumping them into this whatever where you buy the characters. But when you start the game, I don't know, do you have maybe 8 to 10 men and 8 to 10 women? So it's not like and with modern WWE games, you often have, here are 80 from the get-go, fill your boots. Whereas here I was like, I want more. And also you've gated a lot of like, not all the big boys and girls, but like quite a number of them. And when it's so boring to get the bucks, to unlock the characters, it's just like, whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure if we'll ever get another. We will. But it's been a while since we've had like a really great WWE game, I think. Which is a bit of a shame. But WWE Battlegrounds, I think it's cheaper. That's one thing. It's cheaper than
great.
Than your normal WWE games, but
it's bad and it's cheap. Result.
But yeah, that is WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Matthew Castle.
Yes.
How about we go toe to toe? How about we take each other on, but not in the ring? No.
We need to do some wrestling intros
for this specific segment.
I'm gonna humiliate you using reviews from 2016. You wish you were back in 2016.
Oh, I am bodied. Yes, I do. So let's head back to 2016 in a segment we like to call Mystery Steam Reviews.
It's time for Mystery Steam Reviews. Yeah.
Glorious. Absolutely glorious. Yes, Mystery Steam Reviews is the part of the show where we test the knowledge of the other person on this show whilst Colm tries to play the music. We take 5 Steam reviews each, but we take the game away. So the other one must guess what game is attached to which review. Each of us have, or the both of us, I should say, have 5 arts all over the place, Matthew. We have 3 lifelines.
The worst introduction I've ever heard. I hope your playing is as bad as the introduction.
Both of us have 3 lifelines each. I'm sorry, there's a lot of buttons I'm trying to press here. But yeah, we've 3 lifelines each. We can ask the other one a question about the game, but not is the game called this. We can ask for a clue. It can be cryptic, but whatever. Or we can ask for the genre to be revealed, and it's just
Yeah.
an automatic reveal.
Yeah.
And that's Mystery Steam Review. So, Matthew Castle, would you like your first Mystery Steam Review?
I would very much like my first Steam review.
Okay, so, Matthew Castle, here it is. If you think this game is going to be easy, you're making a bug mistake. And that's from Rain. It's recommended. There's 19.7 hours on record and 9.8 hours at review time. Oh God, I didn't start. Sorry, we're meant to have 2 minutes each as well. Matthew's getting extra time now, which is completely fine. Matthew, your time starts now.
If you think this is going to be easy, you're making a bug mistake. I mean, that makes me think Hollow Knight, but I'm thinking 2016? It wasn't as early as that, was it? It was a bit later. It's a bit later than 2016, I think. Yeah, Hollow Knight's too late, it's not that. So 2016, a game with bugs in it that you can play for... How long can you play it for?
You can play it for... Well, this person has 19.7 hours on record.
You're making... Unless it's bugs, because it's got, like... It's buggy as hell. So a 2016 game, which was buggy as hell. 2016, I think that was Dark Souls 3 year. Dishonored 2, Battlefield, there's lots of this stuff.
1 minute remaining.
Oh, Jesus. A 2016 game. Bug mistake. It can't be Hollow Knight. Is it Hollow Knight? Is it Hollow Knight? Oh, jeez. Oh, no, I swear that's 2017. Oh, God. Is there an Earth Defense game?
30 seconds.
But if there is, which one is it? Oh, no. Oh, God, bugs. Bugs, spiders. Oh, no. Oh, this is difficult.
15 seconds.
I'm going to have to guess like an Earth Defense game, I think. Because that's the only thing with famous bugs. Earth Defense Force 4? Is there a 4?
That's your final answer.
That's my fucking final answer. You know it.
Earth Defense Force 4.
Is that even a game?
Matthew Castle, I can tell you that
Oh.
Earth Defense Force 4 is incorrect.
Oh.
I do apologize. The correct answer was Thumper.
What? Oh, because it's a freaking beetle.
Yeah. Which you were trying to think. Don't say that was unfair now. Because you were thinking of games with bugs in them, so you were on the right track. You just didn't have the right game. Don't give me that look.
Good choice, sir. Good choice.
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Right, Matthew Castle, give me my first Mystery Steam review, please.
Played for 2 hours and didn't see a McDonald's. 10 out of 10 would drive through a healthy America again.
Okay, time starts now. Played for 2 hours and didn't see a McDonald's. What? 10 out of 10 would drive through a healthy America again. 19 hours on record. So, I have... what is it, 2016? I would be pretty sure that... I would be pretty sure that this would be an American truck simulator. Surely. But which one? I don't know where that series is, to be honest, or where that series was in 2016. So maybe this might have to be an Earth Defense Force style situation where I just... what do I have? I have a minute left. Hold on. I'm just trying to think now. Do I have a better answer than American Truck Simulator? I don't think I do. What was it again? Just going to have one quick look. Played for 2 hours and didn't see a McDonald's. 10 out of 10 would drive through a healthy America again. I think I might give you my final answer early because American Truck Simulator. But I know that look. You're smug now because I'm getting it wrong. What is it? Is it American Truck? No, it is American Trucks, not American Roads. It is American Truck Simulator 2, 3, 4. American Truck Simulator 2. Final answer.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, Chris, that's my final answer.
The correct answer is American Truck Simulator. That's it. So you got it wrong. I'm so sorry. I wanted you to get it right.
Such a bastard. Right. Son of a bitch.
You were pretty close there.
Why didn't I just say? Anyway, okay, we move on. We live and we learn. Right, Matthew Castle, your second Mystery Steam review is as follows.
Yeah.
Finally, a Transformers game that doesn't suck. 9 out of 10. Recommended 1946.2 hours on record. 37.5 hours at review time. Your time starts now.
Oh my god. Someone who has played 2,000 hours
of a game, any game.
That is a toughie. Games with a transforming element. What is the genre?
Okay, I'm going to pause the timer very briefly. The genre is first-person shooter. Timer has resumed.
Ooh. Titanfall 2.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
I can tell you, Matthew Castle, that Titanfall 2 is the correct answer. Very good use of Lifeline there. Very good. Well done. Well done.
It was an expert lifeline.
Well done. Matthew Castle, can I have my second Mystery Steam review, please?
You may, sir.
Thank you. Right, yeah.
It's one of the best indie games I've ever played. Recommended 14.1 on record.
Okay, time starts now. It's one of the best indie games I've ever played. All right. Indie game where you're a bird. So, or where you collect feathers, but probably not. Probably an indie game. The only game where you collect feathers is Assassin's Creed, and that's not much of an indie game. Indie game where you're a bastard bird. What indie game are you a bird in?
What indie game are you a bird in?
But do you know what I have in my head now is Wingspan, because of our nightmare the other week trying to get it to work. But
that's a 2020 game.
That is a 2020 game. Oh shit. An indie game where you're a bird. I'm blank. Let me think for a second. Something's coming to me. Not Wonder Boy. stupid name of the game. Owlboy. Owlboy. Owlboy.
Really, you're going with you want your final answer to be Owlboy.
So I've never played Owlboy, but I know Owlboy was very popular.
You think there's a game called Owlboy?
And it came out around then. Just keep myself honest. I have 25 seconds.
It could be your answer, but I'm just saying you might look a bit silly saying something called Owlboy.
Owlboy, final answer. I think I've pulled that out of the bag there, out of nowhere.
It's your final answer. You said Owlboy.
Correct.
The correct answer is... It's Owlboy.
Yes! Get in. Get in. Happy with that. Don't know where I pulled that from. Although I was looking at a lot of games that came out in 2016 today, so maybe I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, that was a game. Right. Matthew Castle.
You go.
So the score is currently 1-1.
Yeah, you have to say it. We all know it. It's 1-1.
Matthew Castle, your second Mystery Steam review is as follows. Sorry. No.
That's my one.
Yeah, sorry. No, your third Mystery Steam review is as follows. A game for middle schoolers, written by middle schoolers. It's like this... I think it's a game. I mean, it's a game created for, like, you know, teenagers and, like, created by them too, I think. And that's from Tortica. It's not recommended. 5.8 hours on record, 5.8 hours at review time. Your time starts now.
I think this is Life is Strange. Because that's how the teenagers are like. They're like teenagers and they all talk like this. It's like
bob their head as well.
It's a game created for like, you know, teenagers and like created by them too, I think. They didn't like it. I think it's Life is Strange. I think it's Life is Strange. That's my final answer. And it better not be Life is Strange Chapter 1.
Wow,
I'm saying
Matthew,
this in advance,
Matthew,
you motherfucker.
You have 1 minute and 23 seconds. Is that... Don't need it. Final answer?
It's Life is Strange.
The clock has stopped. Matthew Castle, you said... Final answer. Life is Strange. Yeah. I can tell you that Life is Strange is... incorrect.
What?
You're going to kick yourself.
Oh, if you see Life is Strange Chapter 1, I swear
you're going to kick yourself. The correct answer was Oxenfree. He's kicking himself. I told you he'd kick himself. He's very cross.
You'll rule the day. You'll rule the day.
Right. That was good. I didn't think I'd catch on that one. Happy enough. Okay. Still 1-1. Yeah. Yeah. Still 1-1. Okay. Matthew Castle, can I have my third Mystery Steam review, please?
I've got to sing this one.
Please.
Oh, what will we do with the drunken frame rate? What will we do with the drunken frame rate? What will we do with the drunken frame rate early in the morning? Way, hey, and up she lagging, hey, hey, and up she dropping, way, hey, and up she freezing early in the morning.
Yay! You deserve a clap for that. I'll give you well done. But yeah, well done. Very good. Okay. Time starts now. So it's recommended 12.5 hours on record, 10.6 hours at review time. What will we do with the drunken frame rate?
What will we do with the drunken frame rate? What will we do with the drunken frame rate? Early in the morning.
So, 2016. There's so many Assassin's Creed games that I'm like, which Assassin's Creed game is this? Because it's either Black Flag or Rogue. Because I'm pretty sure they were they the 2016 Assassin's Creed games? I mean, that's the first thing that comes into my head when you think sailing and all that. But would you try and catch me by using Assassin's Creed Rogue? Or would you double bluff and go with Black Flag? Was the frame rate bad in Assassin's Creed?
You've got all three of your lifelines.
I do. I'm under a minute. Is this the third or fourth? This is the fourth, isn't it?
Third.
Matthew Castle, I'm going to pause it. Give me a clue, please.
Give you a clue.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm just trying to think of them. I don't want to give it away too much. Because your clues are always horrible.
Come on. Well, I go cryptic. You can go cryptic, and I can try and work it out in 45 seconds that I've left.
Okay. Oh God, I'm just trying to think of something that isn't super unfair. A clue that makes it fair. That's the tricky thing. More than one playable character.
Okay, resuming time now. More than one playable character. Black Flag. That was a waste of a clue because I'm stuck in this Assassin's Creed. But Black Flag, you did control another guy, but I thought that was in the Freedom Cry DLC. I don't know if you control him in the main game, but honestly, it's probably the best I have. And then you'll tell me it's Assassin's Creed Rogue.
It's not either of those.
Matthew Castle, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, final answer. Nearly got me. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. Assassin's Creed IV : Black Flag.
Now that's your final answer.
That is my final answer, Chris.
The correct answer is Dishonored 2. Oh, what shall we do with a drunken frame rate? What do we do with a drunken frame rate?
Yeah, I suppose Dunwall is a port town and all that.
Had a famously shaky PC launch.
I can't remember it, to be honest. Right,
I'm sorry. My clue was like more than one.
Corvo and Emily, yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I was zeroing in Assassin's Creed. Right, Matthew Castle, you're...
so still 1-1.
Still 1-1, and this is your fourth Mystery Steam review.
Yeah.
This is a great underwater level, and that's from Stardust. It's recommended with 4.8 hours on record and 4.8 hours at review time. Your time starts now.
I want to say, like, that makes me think like Subnautica, but then that didn't come out. Well, I don't know when it started in early access. You wouldn't be a dick and consider early access.
Okay, I'll tell you, no, early access is not.
Okay, so we talk about games on their final release date.
Yes.
In which case, it's not Subnautica because that's later. This is a great underwater level. Give me a clue.
Oh, pause. Okay. Can you avert your eyes, Matthew? Because you're looking at a screen where I have to bring up the clue. Because I wrote down the clue.
That's all right.
Oh yeah. Okay. So your clue.
Back.
Yeah, you can come back. Your clue is what Sebastian says. And your time presumes no.
What Sebastian says? He says under the sea. Sebastian says under the sea. But there isn't a game called Under the Sea. Under the sea. Down where it's wetter. He says. So what won't Sebastian say? That guy's crazy.
You 50 seconds. You do also have other lifelines.
There was that divey one. That was all beautiful. Absu. But I don't think Sebastian says Absu. Absu. Ariel, he says. Under the sea. Absu.
20 seconds.
It's Absu or it's... there was a thing called... There was something about the sea. Because it was made by, like, someone weird, like a rational... not irrational.
8 seconds.
Under the sea.
5 seconds, 4 seconds. Are you sure? Are you sure?
That's
2
the
seconds?
Final answer. I think it was. There was like a Metroidvania thing where you were a submarine.
Okay. So, Under the Sea is your final answer, Matthew Castle.
Under the sea.
I can tell you that Under the Sea is incorrect.
It's what Sebastian says! What does Sebastian say, you turd?
The correct answer is Absu.
Sebastian doesn't say Absu!
Yeah, but I didn't say that was the name of the game. I was telling you it was Under the Sea.
The review was it's a big underwater level. I get that it's fucking underwater. Like, to then have the clue is basically a crab reinforcing that it's under the sea. I mean, I know that much. From the review, I'm not thick. Under the sea. Oh, what does he say? Absu. Fucking hell. Unbelievable.
Absu.
Absu. Absolutely despicable. That's what I say.
I feel kind of bad. But also...
Fuck that crab, man. Or lobster or whatever he was.
Right, Matthew Castle, can I have my fourth Mystery Steam review, please?
Yeah, you can choke on it. Metroidvania game where your brain is the weapon you power up. 60 hours on record. 50.4 hours at review time.
Yeah, time starts now. Metroidvania game where your brain is the weapon you power up. Oh, I haven't a clue. Oh god.
Casual clue. You can ask a question. Have you got a genre left as well?
I do have a genre. Well, Metroidvania or, well, who knows? Oh god. I'm wasting loads of time. 2016 feels like forever ago. Metroidvania game. What was it? Metroidvania game where your brain is the weapon you power up. Oh, I haven't a clue. Well, I'm going to ask you genre and then you're going to say, yes, Metroidvania game, a la what Sebastian says.
I'm going to pull a Sebastian on you.
I'm going to pause it because I am going to ask you, why not? I am going to ask you, no, I'm going to change, I'm going to ask you a question.
All
and
right.
I'm going to say, do you play as a human being in this game?
Hard to tell. I would say yes.
Okay, start the time again. For a waste of question.
I mean, it's an honest answer. It's not explicitly stated. Two players.
Are you pulling the Hollow Knight trick on me, I wonder? See, I never played Hollow Knight, so I can't... Your brain is why you power up. Oh, I can't think of anything. Metroidvania games from 2016. There's probably loads, and as soon as you say it, I'll go, oh shit, yeah, that game. 12 seconds. Oh dear. I think just Hollow Knight is in my head and I can't think of anything else. Hollow Knight, final answer.
That's
I know
your final answer.
It has to be. My time is up and I can't think of anything else, and I know it's wrong.
It's your final answer. It's Hollow Knight.
Yes, Chris.
The correct answer is The Witness.
Shit. I should have asked you what genre it was. Sneaky, cheeky little bollocks.
Classic mystery Steam reviews play.
That is.
Get them hooked. Get them hooked on that word. The word that it ain't. It's a bad review. It does work. I learnt it from the best, Sensei.
So what's the score? Is it 1-1, is it? I think it's 1-1.
It's still 1-1.
Okay, so Matthew Castle, this is your 5th and final Mystery Steam review. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Your 5th Mystery Steam review is as follows. Old man wanks onto his canvas. And that's from Superintendent Simon. It's not recommended. 4.4 hours on record. 4.4 hours at review time. Your time starts now.
Do I have a question?
You do. You do have a question. Would you like to pause the timer to ask a question?
Yeah,
Timer is paused.
To the best of your knowledge, is this something that literally happens in this game?
To the best of my knowledge, this isn't something that literally happens in this game. To the best of my knowledge. The time starts now. You also have another, what is the genre you have?
No, I did genre already.
Oh, you did? FPS, yeah sorry.
I, think... So, what I do remember from around that time is... There was a horror game where there was a painter in a horror game. There was a canvas and you put blood and stuff on it. So I could see that it
But did an old man wank onto it, Matthew?
I don't think it did, but I think someone could have riffed on that. And that's someone's fun idea. That's someone's funny review of this game. That's Layers of Fear. What? Yeah, first Layers of Fear 1. But I don't know if that was 20. I thought that was much earlier than that because I wasn't on the mag at the time. I'm trying to remember who did.
You have 35 seconds.
I'm gonna say Layers of Fear just because I can't think of another game about with a canvas. But it may be, and that might be The Witness. And it's it's like a meta, it's wanking on, No, I'm gonna say Layers of Fear.
15 seconds, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Matthew Castle, I can tell you that Layers of Fear is correct.
I don't think a man wanks onto a canvas.
No, but there is a canvas. Yeah. There is a canvas.
Like bleeds on the canvas, I think.
I think you can paint on it as well, but
in like blood.
Yeah. Right, Matthew, can I have this? Oh God, I need this. I need this big time. Matthew, can I have my 5th and final mystery Steam review, please?
You can play as a pigeon. Unironic 10 out of 10. 148.9 hours on record. 3.7 hours at review time.
Time starts now. Right. You're trying to catch me out, aren't you? Because the famous game where you play as a pigeon is Hatoful Boyfriend, which might be fresh in your head as well, because we were talking about that lately and I can't remember why. That seems too obvious. So I have a feeling there's a game where you... I don't know why I'm so focused on Assassin's Creed. Like, you know, where you do the caw and you like control the bird. What do I have left? I have something left. Genre, that's what I have. Okay, I'm pausing the timer at 1 minute and 11 seconds. Matthew Castle, tell me the genre, please.
FPS.
Okay, resuming. Okay, well, I'm glad I know that it's not Hatoful Boyfriend. But where... you can play as a pigeon. Unironic. 10 out of 10. 148.9 hours on record. That's a lot of time. So if it's an FPS, then there's a strong multiplayer component. Surely. What game can you play as a pigeon? You can play as a pigeon unironic. So it's quite a sincere portrayal of a pigeon.
I love this logic.
18 seconds. 2016. Pigeon. 8 seconds. Call of Duty 2016. Infinite Warfare. That's the timer done.
So your final answer is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now this is for it to draw. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Yeah.
Set in space. Set in space, but has a pigeon level.
Oh no! Is it Battlefield 1?
I'm afraid.
I bet you play as a
Battlefield 1.
Shit. Of course you play as a pigeon in Battlefield 1.
Of course. Listen, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare set in space.
A pigeon with a little
guess.
Space helmet.
A great guess.
Shit.
It could have been a space pigeon.
Well, look, congratulations, Matthew. That means that the score is now 3-3. Look at you. Brought it back from 3-1. Well done. Yes. Congratulations.
I know it's only a game. Congratulations to you. That was very, very fairly thought, I thought.
Were you okay with the majority of them, apart from
I think
Sebastian?
They were all fair, apart from your terrible clue, which was just the review again, I would say.
Okay.
It's a game set under the sea, and your clue is it's under the sea. When does Sebastian ever say fucking absolutely?
I didn't.
Anyway,
Yeah. Move on. That's that Mystery Steam review's done. You won 2-1. Congratulations, alright? Congratulations. Right, I should have looked for burning questions before we ended that segment, because now we'll run into that awkward part where we have to wait.
In the comments, so they say it was that famous no pigeon level from COD. A good burn from the chat there,
yes, Joel. Thank you, Joel. But yes, now we turn to the chat for your burning questions and something that we like to call a burning questions. It's terrifying, isn't it? So yes, this is the part of the show where we do, as I said, turn to you, ask us whatever you want. Now we will see if anyone has asked anything in the meantime. I normally try and do that before the final Mystery Steam review, but failed massively today. So I don't know if anyone does indeed
have any burning questions.
Maybe all the questions have been answered. Hopefully someone will have something. But yes, that is Mystery Steam Reviews. It's getting harder, Matthew. Like when we're going back through the years. Do you want to reset, or do you want to go back one further for the next episode? Do you want to go back to 2015?
Oh, well, good. I mean, might not. Everything's getting patchier the further back we go.
Big time. We could go back maybe one more year. We'll go back to 2015 and see if we can rejog our memories, and we've padded enough as well for questions. Excellent.
What's the questions being asked?
Hold on. How do you ban? I'm gonna see if I can. Is this person a moderator? I'm gonna have to take them off. Modding. Jojo asks, is Matthew still playing Flight Sim? Well, are you?
I am not at the moment because I'm currently rebuilding. Well, I'm rebuilding my PC. Catherine's about to rebuild my PC. I ran out of space and had to get rid of it because it's absolutely massive. So I've stopped playing it, but I do plan to revisit it. Just not at the moment. Sorry, not a very exciting answer.
Yes, it's a big game. Daniel asks, what pets do you have? Matthew Castle, the Catman. Catman do and Catman does. With, is it 2 or 3 you have?
I have 2 cats.
2 cats.
Maple and Midna. Here's a fun cat story. This afternoon,
please.
I saw Maple eat the arse of a mouse and then puke. So that was that.
That's cute.
That's
cute.
Cats.
Fun times. I have.
Oh, you've gone quiet on me.
Yeah, my mic is back. Sorry.
You muted yourself.
Yes, Matthew can't hear me, but if I do this, he'll be able to hear me. Apologies for the mix-up. But Matthew will be able to hear me very shortly.
Right.
He should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me?
You.
Yeah, sorry. This cable is very dodgy. I need to get this sorted. Sorry. But I have no pets. I am allowed a cat. The landlord, no dogs allowed. They do allow a cat. There has been talk of potentially getting a cat. I am more of a dog man. Cats are fine. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a cat. But at current, no cat.
Any questions delivering as always.
Aidan Gillen asks, Matthew, have you always had such fantastic eyebrow skills?
Eyebrow skills? I wouldn't say that. I mean, I can't do much with them apart from raise them and lower them.
Can you lower different? Can you do the old Cadbury's ad? Old. It's from a couple of years ago. Do you remember the?
I can do it that way, but not the other way.
I can do that, but yeah, I can't do the other way either.
Yeah, I'd say pretty average eyebrow skills, but I guess I've got a reasonably expressive face.
Iggy Pop Barker asks, what's your favourite, I don't know, way to prepare potatoes? Mashed. I'm a big fan. I'm a big oh my god.
This better be good.
What's it called? Why has it gone out of my head? Dauphinoise.
Oh, well, Your Majesty.
Actually, yeah. What was the question? What's your favorite way to prepare potatoes? Mashed. What's my favorite way to have them prepared for me? Yeah. Is it dauphinoise or dauphinoise? Dauphinoise? Dauphinoise. Yeah, I do quite. That's quite nice.
I like them with the white slop. I like them with the white slop like the French people do.
Wet spuds.
I like them wet, sloppy, and continental.
Ben asks, any recommendations from EGX/PAX? What was your favourite game that we played? They were all brilliant, Matthew, during the 7.5 hour stream. But if you were to pick one game that we showcased, which one would you?
I quite liked the Rift Breaker because it had very explosive grass.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one, yeah.
I also really love Unto the End, but I've talked about that before. That's the last one we did with the little barbarian guy chopping his way. It's got very satisfying combat. I like that.
What was the name of the one with the weird rhythm action?
Starstruck.
Starstruck, that was it. Yeah, that was I don't know what was going on, but I do know that I was enjoying it.
I mean, the true answer is I don't like to think on the before times.
Ben also asks, Colm, how do you feel about throwing away 3-1 lead?
You really threw it away.
Don't know why I even read that out.
That question
feel disgusting. Jedi K809 asks, will there be any more bastard runs? If there are, not for a while.
Yeah, because unfortunately, one of the bastards was such a bastard.
One of the nasty boys went to the big...
One of the nasty boys proved too nasty for certain tastes.
Went to the big nasty bin in the sky. So, I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. The Castaway asks, did you embrace after the 7-hour stream? Yes. For 7 hours, in fact, actually.
But long because of socially distancing.
Yeah, we embraced from afar.
It may have looked like we were closer than 2 meters on that sofa, but we were not. That was the magic of cinema.
Yeah, the
magic of the movie.
The trickery of live production. And A. Gilling also asks, we'll get this in as the final question. What are your thoughts on VR and the new Oculus Quest 2? I mean, my thoughts on VR are that it's cool, but it is... I
sense a big take coming.
It's cool. It's cool, but it's far too expensive and thus will never take off and will die a horrible death. Unless it becomes affordable. It's like anything. That's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter about power. It doesn't matter about, that really. It comes down to how much it will cost. And VR is too expensive. So, yeah. Matthew, I think you're of a similar opinion, but you do like VR.
I really liked Half-Life Alyx. That stream I did of Half-Life Alyx on the channel remains one of my favourite things I did on the channel. It was a good laugh. We should have done more, really. But oh well. It's as it ever was. The Oculus Quest. I played a little bit of the Oculus because it's kind of the sort of stand. I like that it doesn't require other stuff, though. I get the feeling a lot of people buy the Oculus Quest and then just plug it into a PC with the USB thing, and there's like a weird way you can almost turn it into like a cheaper, like wired headset. But I'm intrigued to see. Hopefully, Catherine will get to test one. I like to test all these things, which try them out and stuff. But I kind of need to see it for myself. Really, the stats and the figures never make much sense until you actually give them a go, I find. But that's my very boring take. Apologies.
Not everything has to be blistering hot. Sometimes tepid is the... I mean, also, you're centrist dead, so surely all your takes should be tepid, really.
Oh, yeah.
So, true to form. And that just about does it for this week's edition of the PC Gaming Weekspot. As I said, again, Matthew, I'm deeply sorry. I really am. There is no Stephen, but I'm sure that I'll get an email as soon as we're done saying that we've done a marvellous job and that Stephen will come on the next PC Gaming Weekspot. Plus, look, you won Mystery Steam Review, so don't be too sour, okay?
Yeah, I know, but I wanted. Wait, Stephen was watching, so he saw me win.
That is true, yeah. That is true.
I was pretty impressed.
So maybe he might very well.
He'll cast me as Indiana Jones.
Oh, there's a thought.
I'm such a cool guesser.
Baby Indy, or you're the new Indiana Jones. You are Harrison Ford for the new generation. You take on Indy, and Tom Hardy takes the Bond role.
I mean, I am available. Any film directors are watching. This guy right here.
That man, look at him there, dapper in his
I'll
suit.
work for free.
So, yes, as I said at the start, the next PC Gaming Weekspot is not next Monday. It will be Monday, October 5th, I think it is. I will just double check. Yes, because I'm taking a holiday and I'm very tired and I'd like a full-on proper holiday. So no PC Gaming Weekspot next week, but then week after and clean run until the end of the year, myself and Matthew will be here every week discussing the new hotness was what I was looking for in PC gaming. So that's something to look forward to. And also, I know this has been requested as well a couple of times, talk of making this available as a podcast. Again, another thing that will happen. So, and probably sooner rather than later. I shouldn't say that. You should never promise things. But maybe. We'll see. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Of course, we do ask you, please do like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell as well so you'll be notified of future things that are published on this channel. How?
You've gone quiet again.
What's that, Matthew?
You've gone quiet again.
Have I? Oh,
Yeah,
for Christ's sake. That's really annoying. Why have I gone quiet again? Right near the end. Sorry, everyone. I think you can hear me. Or maybe I need to get this cable checked. You should hear me again. Okay. Thanks very much for watching. Yes. For all of your RPS needs, head to rockpapersshotgun.com. And now it's time for my least favorite part of the show. This is the part of the show where it's bid the listener, the viewer, the people, adieu. So say goodbye, Matthew Castle.
Goodbye.
And say goodbye, Colin Mahern, Sloan Gafford. Goodbye.
What did you call me?